About 24 hours after we came home, my 1-year-old got very, very hoarse. I ended up scheduling a pediatrician appointment. They're breaking out with rashes. I'm taking him to the doctors. They're telling me, well, they have eczema and they have croup because we can't diagnose them with chemical burns. We can't diagnose them with chemical burns of the lungs because almost after 3 weeks, they're still waiting on guidance from the Ohio Department of Health. How long is it going to take? Are one of my children going to have to drop dead before they get guidance?
Candace DeSanzo is absolutely right. That question is very profound, what she just asked. And thanks to Status Coup for this coverage. What is necessary? Is one of my children gonna have to drop dead for them to be able to diagnose? She is right on the money. And I can guarantee you from my visit there yesterday and all the other reporting that is coming out from various news outlets, particular shout out to independent media, a lot of other parents and residents of East Palestine, they're asking the same questions. She continued on and said something even more horrifying.
I mean, I'm showering in the water, and every time I get a shower for 2 hours, it's like my body is on fire. Why have I never experienced that for the 44 years that I've lived in East Palestine up until this happened? And they're saying it's safe, but if it's safe, it is not a coincidence that, all of these residents are having the same symptoms, the same things happening to them, and they want us to believe that.
She is absolutely right. This is not a coincidence. And the they she is referring to is government, Norfolk Sutherland, and state and federal level government. It is absolutely ridiculous. And when I was there too, like there was something different about that air. I even felt a little tickle in my throat, and I was not there even for that long of a time. Imagine the fact that these residents have to live through this, and now we're 19, approaching 20 days in, and they still don't have the answers that they need, nor do they have the medical attention that they need. Crystal Ball brought up a remedy on her Twitter that I want us to explore, and certainly all the elected officials that claim to care about the residents of East Palestine and what may be impacting our sisters and brothers and family and friends in Western Pennsylvania should take this into consideration. A provision in Obamacare allows residents in areas deemed a public health disaster to be covered by Medicare for life. At the very least, East Palestine residents deserve this universal coverage after being exposed to a known carcinogen. And I totally agree with Crystal Ball on that. And the same designation may be necessary for the folks of Western Pennsylvania. Jackson, your thoughts on what is happening there thus far and what Candace had to say about what her and her family are enduring in this moment?
Well, first and foremost, we live in the United States, the wealthiest country, the wealthiest nation in the history of civilization, and things like this are just flat out unacceptable. This goes to show beyond anything else the importance of a well-equipped and well-regulated government, because this is what government is supposed to do. It's supposed to keep these types of things from happening. Obviously there's a little bit too much of anything is bad. But to take opportunities like this to just be like, what was Republicans on some outlets were saying like, Biden doesn't like white people or the woke left doesn't like white people. And then you continue to see arguments about like, what the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau that gave $13 billion back to people. We can't have that. That's too much government oversight. But those are the things that government are supposed to do. Keep people from getting screwed over from giant institutions, and to keep factories and any type of commodities, institutions, whatever, from poisoning people. That's really the bare minimum. So this first and foremost is an opportunity for accountability across the board. If there was never a wake up call, then this is definitely it.
This is it, Jackson, and we've been having several of these. So it's East Palestine, it's Western Pennsylvania, it's Flint, Michigan, it's Jackson, Mississippi, you name it. These types of crises have been cropping up in this country for far too long. And when something of this magnitude happens, it really is a call for all levels of government to be engaged to help people's short-term needs to address their short-term needs and then to look into the future. And Jackson, your point about this is what government is supposed to do just reminded me, you know what? Let's just go ahead and remind folks about what the United States Constitution, the preamble says, because that answers what you just said, Jackson, about this is government's job to step in here because of the magnitude of this and because of the rail company that is culpable for this. The federal government in particular has the biggest stick on this, but this is the preamble. We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility. Now that's bolded, underlined, and underscore. Establish, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare. Okay, so let's stick with the general welfare and ensure tranquility. That's it. Now I can go on, but those are the major points. And that is what should be happening right now for the residents of East Palestine and also the folks in Western Pennsylvania and anybody else that is impacted on this type of magnitude. But that is not happening. So for all the Republicans and Democrats, but I'm looking at you side-eyeing you Republicans because you're using this event in a very nefarious way. If you truly care about these residents the way that you claim that you care about these residents, then you better be all about what Crystal just made us aware of, that there's a provision in Obamacare and whatever designation needs to happen so that these people can get lifetime Medicare benefits, then let's have at it. Let's do it. JD Vance, I'm looking at you, bruh. Dude, because I can't call you bruh. Dude, I'm looking at you because you was up in East Palestine with President Trump today. I'm looking at you because you've been talking a whole lot of smack, and all the other Fox hosts talking a whole bunch of smack. So let's get up on this provision in Obamacare. Let's see how much you really do care for these residents who have been impacted.